Well, this is something I should discuss with my advisor, but it's something I had a thought of this morning, introducing a new variable that I think is a good idea, but I've already gotten almost a year of data. And so I don't know if it's good for me to do it for my project, but I think long term for other people, it would be good to do. And it's a simple thing. It's just like taking quick samples of something for people down the line. I emailed my advisor today about it, but I haven't heard back yet. But I don't know. It just sometimes I don't know how many variables are good for a research project or it's too much. You climb down rabbit holes all day long, and then you find
Absolutely.
out that it's stupid.
So not stupid. There's a very real trade-off at hand. So later on, we're talking about some of the sort of philosophical underpinnings of research and science and sort of this particular deconstructive Western way of knowing. We'll talk about how what you're building is a model, and the idea that all models are wrong because they are an approximation. They are not the thing that is modeled. They're an abstraction of it. They're a summary of it. They're a more understandable sort of human representation of the thing that you are studying. So all models are wrong, flat out. They are not the thing that you are studying. Some models, on the other hand, are useful. So we'll talk about, there's a point at which the trade-off is the saying among research is you can't model the world. It can't be perfect. It can't have all the variables. It can't have all of the levels inside each variable. You are doing the definition of the word statistic is it is a number that summarizes other numbers. You're collapsing things down in detail and complexity across the thing. So each measurement is an abstraction of reality, and each statistic is an abstraction of sets of measurements. So you want to preserve enough detail, intake enough data across enough variables that your model is useful, but you don't want to get to the point of so many variables that you're spending so much effort, irrecoverable time, recoverable money, human capital, your energy level, stuff like that, that you get sort of bogged down at that phase, and there's no gas in the tank left or charge in your vehicle's battery bank to get to the point of boiling all that down into what is useful as your model, your statistical model, your spatial model, your cognitive model, theoretical model, lots of different kinds of models, but it's all the process of distilling down to what are the parts that we actually care about. So in general, you're looking for that Goldilocks of enough, but not too much, so to speak, of the number and different kinds of variables. So in asking your advisor, is it okay if I collect this additional data? Usually the answer for that question is quick mental calculus on, okay, so every additional responsibility in the field that I pile on Stephen or Emily or whomever, that's a very small risk to them being able to complete their intended work successfully. What's the benefit? What's the payoff? So if you can get a couple of things almost passively, or find automated data sources nearby of that sort of thing, like a lot of environmental factors are tracked pretty closely at weather stations now, or stream gauging stations in the case of water, that sort of thing. And USGS, puts detailed hydrographs out, and they have for years and years and years. I mean, since the 90s, they've had stuff uploaded just continuously online, and you just download the data set that you need from the station you need. So it's a quick calculation of, okay, can I get this data any other way passively by downloading it? Is anybody else actively already collecting something like this data that I can use as a proxy for what we're thinking about adding to our collection protocol? And ultimately, is this indeed valuable enough? Like, we can capture a bunch of stuff. When I'm designing and building custom sensors for my research and like soldering the chips together and wiring in data loggers and stuff like that, it's very much this, like, how many sensors can I jam in? How much extra battery draw is that going to have on the sensor package? Like, am I getting more for the fact that I'll have to swap out the batteries more? Am I getting more for the fact that every additional sensor inputted into that data logger increases the complexity and the chance that some part of it might fail and take the rest of it down with it? So yeah, it's just a trade-off. So that'd be a good conversation with your advisor. And sometimes if you have, usually it's the exterior member of your committee outside your department, that you bring in as kind of a technique expert or a subject matter expert for what your research is. And they can help you understand little gotchas in terms of, okay, so you want to get this extra other kind of data. Have you thought about this particular wrinkle with that? Like, for the next 8 weeks of your data collection, you can't even get that because that area is currently underwater with spring normal ephemeral flooding or something like that. And so you'd get, maybe the next 7 weeks of data, but there would just be this big hole in what you want to get anyway. So cool idea, but not worth it. Or they say, oh yeah, no, that's super easy. You should definitely do that. And let's get that data to this other student who's also working on some stuff, and we'll archive the whole thing for a future student to be able to come in and just, parachute in on day one with these huge existing data sets. That's a wonderful gift to pay forward where you can, but it's not always possible. So the short answer is it's complex. The medium answer is this is a good conversation with your advisor, and the long answer is all of those details and trade-offs and so forth. Does that kind of help address that a little bit better?
Yeah, it sure does.
Cool. All right. You'll notice I'm being